This bull looks like a real monster, which was brought out in the laboratory and even pumped up with steroids. Its size is impressive, with a mass of almost 1.5 tons. It is twice as large as ordinary bulls. Every muscle is visible under the smooth hide. If such a bull were to strike, then even without horns, he could break through a wall. And this impressive musculature is not a single mutation, but the dignity of an entire breed. It is called the Belgian blue cow. And at home, it is considered a real pride of breeders. Can you immediately imagine some mad scientist who tried to bring out an army of super strong bulls? No, there were no gamma irradiations as in the case of the Hulk, and there was not even a simple gene modification. Such pronounced musculature is found in many animals as a result of a natural mutation. The gene that is responsible for muscle growth simply becomes more active. So the body in the process of development uses food as a building material for such an impressive muscle frame to a greater extent than in the case of ordinary animals without this gene. This mutation occurs not only in cows, but also in other animals, for example, in dogs. However, the breeders who were engaged in breeding the Belgian blue cow made efforts to fix this gene and turn it from a random mutation into a stable breed trait. To do this, they simply crossed cows and bulls with this gene amongst themselves. The result is a bodybuilding bull which is not only larger, but also much stronger than representatives of most other breeds. It's just that the Belgian blue bull was not brought out to participate in fights or bullfights, and this is good, because then the matadors would simply not have a chance. This breed of bull was bred for meat. You would be surprised, but such a volume of muscles makes bull meat less fatty than chicken, and more than 3 times less fatty than regular beef. And on the contrary, there is much more protein. In addition, these bulls are real good-natured and have a very balanced character. Of course, it's not worth teasing them, but for no reason such bulls do not use their superpower and do not run to attack. But would you dare to approach such an animal? Let us know in the comments. The Brockman Bull looks like the fruit of the forbidden love of a cow and a camel. But this, of course, is not the case. Such hybrids are impossible due to a large difference in the genetic code of these animals. However, the Brockman looks really unusual. A huge, powerful body, a large head the size of a human torso, and at the same time a massive hump that adds almost half a foot, about 15 centimeters, to the height of the beast and can be so large that it will fall on its side while running. The Brockman is the first breed of cattle that was bred in the United States at the very beginning of the 20th century. That's just as the name implies, it was based on breeds brought to the States from distant India. The weight of a bull can go far beyond a ton, and in height, 6.5 feet, about 2 meters. Its huge hump is not an ornament, but rather plays the same role as the hump of a camel. It can be a container of nutrients if the animal has to go for a long time without water and food. That's why these animals are so loved by farmers in the United States. A Brockman bull can be released to free grazing and not worry about whether the animal will find water and food. Even if it walks through a deserted territory for a while, the fat reserve in the hump will help it survive without loss of health before food is found in sufficient quantity. I'd say that abilities like this deserve your like, don't you agree? In addition, it is not only one of the largest bulls on the planet, but also one of the most persistent and hardy. Its skin is so dense that the animal is practically invulnerable to the bites of the largest mosquitoes and other bloodsuckers. This means that the animal will not suffer from ailments that these insects carry. The Chianina is a breed of bulls that resemble a cloud. No, I don't mean that they're fluffy. I just mean that it seems that the shadow of such a giant can really cover a small city. The height of this beast is 6.5 feet, about 2 meters. The weight can reach 1.5 tons. This makes him one of the biggest bulls in the world. He is so huge that it competes in size with young hippos. Huge strength, endurance, and surprisingly calm character traits made this bull very popular. The Chianina is not only considered one of the most common breeds in its native Italy, but has also become popular far beyond its Italian borders. It is also considered incredibly ancient, older than some countries in which this breed is now bred. Huge herds of Chianina graze in many countries of South America. In addition to its huge size, this giant has a skin that resembles armor. Therefore, not only blood-sucking insects, but also small snakes cannot bite through it. What you need for a tropical climate, to which this beast has adapted well and does not suffer at all from the heat, which could drive you into an air-conditioned room in half an hour. Usually a cow is much smaller than a bull, about 1.5 times. But in the case of the Montbard breed, the situation's a little different. These huge animals impress with their size regardless of gender. The most common cow grows so big that its height at the withers reaches 6 feet, 1.8 meters. That is the height of an adult man. Bulls, of course, are also huge. This French breed was bred to produce milk and meat. The logic of breeders is simple. The bigger the cow, the more milk it can give. And you know what? That's right. A cow gives about 8.5 tons of milk a year, enough to feed a small village. And the entire farm can export milk and products from it. So these cows are a real source of white gold. However, most of this wealth goes to the cheese. Some brands of elite French cheeses, for example, Montbard, Montbard, Comté, and Bleu de Gex, must contain milk from these cows. There it is, career success. As for bulls, their meat is valued for the absolute complete absence of a fat layer, amazing tenderness, and elasticity. Sorry, vegetarians, these are dry facts, not meat-eating propaganda. The German Angus is an unusual breed of bull, which immediately catches the eye with its massiveness. The weight of a cow can significantly exceed half a ton, but the main thing is bulls. The difference between the sexes in this breed is huge, and males are about twice as heavy as females, reaching a mass of more than a ton. At the same time, the backbone of bulls is only 15% of the animal's weight, which is quite small. Therefore, the bull looks a little puffed up with his broad chest, huge body, and head on relatively thin legs. But no, he doesn't suffer from obesity. This is a natural trait of the animal. The Asian swamp buffalo is a true titan even among other wild-horned heavyweights. He is a third larger than ordinary bulls with a mass of up to 1.2 tons. But the main thing is the dimensions. The height at the withers of the marsh buffalo can reach almost 7 feet, about 2.2 to 2.3 meters. In length, it grows up to 10 feet, almost 3 meters. That is, in size, this animal sort of resembles a minibus. But the most impressive are the huge, powerful horns. They are slightly curved and usually directed backwards so as not to interfere with the animal passing through dense thickets. And for good reason, because the length of the horns of wild individuals can reach 7 feet, more than 2 meters. And if such a huge weapon was pointed up and forward like deer, then after a walk through the forest, the buffalo would have to clean the horns from bird nests and broken tree branches. Once upon a time, this majestic beast lived on a vast territory throughout Asia. The western tip of its range reached ancient Mesopotamia, while the eastern one reached southern China. In addition, this buffalo lived on many islands, for example in the Philippines and Malaysia. Unfortunately, due to deforestation and the development of wildlands for agriculture, these buffaloes now live only in India, Nepal, Bhutan, Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, and Ceylon. And that's not bad either though, is it? The only trouble is that wild herds of these buffaloes are adjacent to domestic bulls, which are on free grazing in many of these countries. These domestic bulls are descendants of the Asian buffalo, which was tamed thousands of years ago so the animals can freely interbreed. This is a problem because over the centuries, under the care of a person, domestic bulls have changed quite a lot. Their horns have become almost twice as short, a sagging belly has appeared, and the character has changed. Do you remember what Thor looked like in Infinity War, and then in Endgame? Here, too, the difference is about the same. An unpleasant sight, wouldn't you agree? I do agree. It motivates you to take care of yourself. Cubs from wild and domestic buffaloes are usually weaker than purebred wild individuals. This is bad because there are almost no worthy opponents in nature for an adult wild buffalo. Only the tiger and the largest crocodiles can attack adult males. The battle of the tiger and the buffalo is one of the most impressive duels that can be seen in the wild. Opponents are worthy of each other. The largest and strongest wildcat against the largest and most aggressive wild buffalo in all of Asia. The tiger sneaks up to the buffalo to pounce on the prey before it has time to use its horns. The predator is trying to get to the throat, and a tiger can break the net of smaller individuals with one blow. But an adult bull is too strong, so the tiger's only chance is to get to the neck vessels with its fangs or strangle. That's just that the ungulate does not give up without a fight and can trample the tiger. And if he notices the cat too early and manages to meet the jump with his horns, then the tiger will at best be forced to run. In addition, buffaloes are herd animals, and mutual assistance of ungulates can be a very bad trait for a tiger. In the worst case, the striped beast itself will become a victim. But the more blood of a domestic cousin in a wild buffalo, the weaker and more vulnerable it is to other predators like leopards, wolves, and red dogs. And which heavyweight bull impressed you the most today? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We will see you more often. This defeats a snake. It makes sense. The snake chose the wrong opponent. Mongooses are known for their lightning-fast reactions, agility, and develop skills that enable them to hunt venomous snakes purposefully. A mongoose can anticipate the direction of a snake's attack by observing its body position. Moreover, it can twist in midair to avoid meeting the reptile's fangs by just a hair's breadth, to sink its sharp teeth directly into the snake's neck or another vulnerable part. Not every mongoose snake encounter ends with the mammal's victory, but when a mongoose returns to its den with a cobra in its jaws, this isn't actually surprising at all. What truly shocking is when a venomous snake is defeated by an insect. Despite being in vastly different weight classes, the reptile should dispatch any insect as easily as a seasoned bull would deal with a timid little jackal. The snake is about 50 times heavier and is armed with jaws. One bite for the insect works like the ultimate skill of your favorite Dota 2 hero. The enemy stands no chance, except when a snake is facing a praying mantis. This is the only insect that can defeat this reptile. Furthermore, it even hunts and attacks snakes first. This snake isn't the largest ever, but for a mantis to attack it is like if you try taking on a polar bear and win with your bare hands. This is a real feat. The insect uses camouflage and its scythe-like forelimbs. The snake moves peacefully in search of food. It's quite young, so it preys on insects actively sought after. However, this encounter will not be pleasant for the snake. When the snake is within striking distance, the mantis literally shoots its limbs and grabs the opponent in a way that the snake can neither escape nor use its jaws. Once again, the absence of limbs becomes a disadvantage for the snake. However, occasionally, praying mantises also hunt small lizards, so the success of the insect is hardly due to the lack of the opponent's paws. It's more about the tremendous strength of their gripping limbs. The mantis, venomless but armed with powerful jaws, finishes off its prey. Modern scientists agree that dinosaurs didn't really go extinct. Not all of them, at least. Most species did vanish from the face of the Earth about 65 to 62 million years ago, but not really without a trace. Since the direct descendants of dinosaurs are birds. Yeah, you heard me correctly. The swan that impresses you with its beauty during your last park stroll is, in fact, a distant relative of the Tyrannosaurus. A very, very distant relative. But some birds clearly retained much more from their formidable ancestors than meets the eye. You'll be shocked, but it's not eagles or falcons. It's chickens. Don't believe me? Well, this snake also thought it was facing a defenseless little bird. But in the chest of this chicken beats the heart of an ancient monster. And for the protection of its offspring, the chicken demonstrated this. Just a moment ago, it was peacefully roaming the yard. But when it noticed the cobra, the chicken underwent a transformation that would scare the Incredible Hulk. The chicken raised its feathers and went on the offensive first. It attacked the snake with its feet and beak. This demonstrates the bravery of the feathered warrior, as the swift snake could have bitten the opponent's neck. But no strike found its mark, and the bird managed to fend off its chicks. If you think this story is unique, then you would be mistaken. In distant villages of Southeast Asia, domestic fowl often have to fend for themselves against attacks from the most formidable venomous reptiles. Even if the snake has the advantage of battle terrain, it doesn't guarantee victory against the seemingly ordinary chicken. Just like in this case when a huge cobra slithered into the coop. The chicken found itself in a tight corner, nowhere to retreat, almost no room for maneuvering. But it has a dozen chicks relying on it. For the chicken, this is sufficient motivation to transform from a peaceful egg layer into the Terminator. Pay attention to this combat mastery. If there were hand-to-hand combat courses for birds, this chicken would be the instructor. Every move is calculated. The bird uses its feathers to distract the snake and appear larger. It skillfully keeps the chicks away from the predator while continuously attacking again and again. Most of the blows are delivered by the bird's strong legs. Its claws might not be as big as a falcon's, but they are sharp, and the strikes deal devastating damage to the snake. The cobra is in shock. One of its bites could stop not only a horse's heart, but an elephant's. However, the chicken doesn't give it a chance to inject its venom. It attacks from unexpected angles, swoops low to be on the other side, and keeps on pecking. The chicken's beak poses as much threat to the snake as its claws. Initially, the snake crawls like a hunter, low to the ground. But meeting such resistance, it spreads its hood. This means that the cobra has switched to defense mode, but it's too late. It's not the chicken that fell into a trap in a tight corner here. It's the snake now facing an impossible situation. A bit more, and the chicken will simply peck it to death. A disgrace for such a formidable predator. In the end, the bird successfully defended its offspring. A single chicken can successfully fend off even multiple snakes. This battle turned into a veritable siege, where the chicken became a living fortress for its chicks. Such loyalty to offspring is pretty admirable, wouldn't you agree? To be fair, it's worth noting that not only chickens are capable of such feats in defense of their offspring. This turkey, as well, has clearly mastered self-defense tactics for birds. Just look. at how adeptly it handles the snake. The key is having a family behind the fighter that can cover it and, if necessary, help defeat the venomous reptile. The bird, not of the most outstanding size, but its sharp, short beak is capable of dealing critical damage to the reptile, especially considering how accurately the turkey wields it. It seems like this cat decided to provide worthy competition to the birds. It noticed the approach of a dangerous enemy early enough to step back and leap out of the box. Still, the cat chose to fight. Perhaps her kittens are in there, and there's neither time nor opportunity to move them. Surprisingly, the cat opted for the only correct tactic. To minimize the risk of getting bitten, she laid a real siege and used the box's walls to block the snake's path. Then, with powerful claw strikes, the cat knocked the snake down. The cat's blows were so swift that the snake had no chance to catch her with its venomous fangs. It seems that during the paw strike, it turned into a blurred spot. It's impossible to properly see it without slow motion. In the end, this mother managed to save her little ones. If you want to see other cases where parents committed true feats for their offspring, then don't forget to write about it in the comments section underneath this video.